If you have the mindset, you're ready to have volatile swings of plus or minus 20 to 30%. And if you can do that and hold on, this is the future way that we're going to have currency and the way that our kids and grandkids are going to transact. So you're actually buying into their future.
Welcome to Women Take Stock. This week, we're going to look into our crystal ball and explore the future of money. Okay, that's a bit of a stretch. We don't have magic powers. Obviously, if we did, we would just look up next week's lottery numbers and be done with it.
The good old reliable lottery. There are, though, plenty of people who are adamant that the future of money is not green paper. The future looks a little more like ones and zeros, which makes complete sense to me because when is the last time any of us used cash?
That's a good question. I don't even remember. So today we are going to try and wrap our heads around cryptocurrency, which the New York Times once called the crazy cousin of traditional currency. So some people say that the entire future of finance is headed down the crypto path, and people and even banks and some governments are signing on for the ride. But then others say it's totally insane. And I'm thinking of Warren Buffett, who even called it demented.
Did he really say that?
Yeah, I think he did.
He did, but then he dialed back and has doubled down on crypto.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Well, whatever happens in the future, we're intrigued and we want to know. It's complicated stuff. Luckily, we have a special guest, a crypto educator named Lori Souza, who does a pretty good job of making this otherworldly sounding currency into something a bit more relatable. But first, let's start the show. Tula?
You have a new theme for us today.
Nice.
We are four friends all at different places in our financial and personal lives looking to pull back the curtain on the seemingly mysterious, often testosterone-driven world of stock investing.
And if four women without business degrees can figure out the market as a side hustle, so can you.
Join us as we learn the basics, buy, sell, scratch our heads, hold our breath, commiserate, and celebrate, hopefully more of the latter. We aren't experts, so please note that this podcast is for general information purposes only.
Yeah, anything resembling financial advice is purely coincidental.
That said, we are hoping to make a little or a lot of money doing this. And if money is power, we want some of that too. You know what I have in my head? We're four friends.
We are four friends. It's like I'm counting us. We are four.
The way you're saying it, because I've heard it so many times.
5, no, 6, no, we're four. We're four friends.
Okay, the three of you. And me, four. The point of the show, the reason we started this whole thing was to support each other in our little investing journeys. And so how have you been? I haven't seen you in, about a week. Tula, what about you?
Well, okay. I actually made my first sell and gain this week. Very minor. I made $7 on my one Apple stock.
Why did you sell?
I was feeling like I've been holding on for almost 6 weeks since we started this first podcast. And I was like, I want to make something and I want to experiment with selling. And Apple, it just seemed to me, it was one of those stocks that goes up a little, goes down a little. It wasn't having a lot of movement. Although, of course, after I sold it, it did go up. I should have waited.
Pretty much a guarantee. You should tell us, hey, I just sold Apple, so you guys should buy it because it's a
right. But I'll tell you my error. I didn't look into what's Apple got coming up before I sold it. And had I done that research, I would have realized that they just announced, I can't remember now what it was. Oh, it was those headphones that everybody was making fun of because of the high price tag. But I think it did go up a little bit because of that. But anyways, I was excited to have made $7. I held on to Pfizer. I'm holding on to my AT&T because it's up a little and it pays great dividends. And then my fuel cell technologies are down.
Oh, I can't talk about fuel cell. I'll start crying.
Yeah. I'm going to hold on to them until I at least break even.
I believe in them. I believe in them.
That's where I'm at.
Too. I think they're going to go up.
Yeah, and there have been some government contracts that are coming on fuel cell technology.
Look at us, reading the business news. Seriously, when in your life before did you regularly read the business news?
That would be the first section I would throw away when I would, you open up the New York Times and you pull out the few sections you actually want to read from the Sunday Times. Yes. Financial news was definitely on the discard pile.
Cat litter box, totally.
Along with sport. Yeah, sport and business.
Exactly.
I have to say, that's one of the things I feel like I've benefited most from this group and this podcast is that I feel like I can actually, A, I'm interested in that information, and B, I can engage in conversations with my relatives who like to talk about this stuff. And now I'm not just that person in the background that's like, when are they going to stop talking about stocks so that I can contribute?
I think this idea Tula was saying, I wish I'd had done research. And I think it's such an important thing to remember, at least for me, is you have to keep on top of the news for everything you're invested in. It's not just researching it before you buy in, but you have to keep on top of not just where the stock is going, but what's coming down the pike, listening to earnings calls.
Wow, I haven't gone that far yet.
Really?
Yeah,
Where do you find those?
They're usually you can find them through just searches like Yahoo Finance and whatnot, or often if you go to the company's website, they'll have links to it.
How do you pay attention and not fall asleep?
It's a good question, Jen. How do you not fall asleep? Actually, that is about engaging with the actual news of the company and understanding more of what they're talking about, whether it's their P&E or actual business developments.
And when you said P&E, I thought you meant peony, like the flower. And I was like, what? That makes no sense. But I get it.
They are beautiful.
P&E stands for profit to earning ratio.
Price
to earning ratio.
I think that the interesting thing about what you're both saying, though, and it's a sort of a good tip for me anyway, is to not buy too many different types of stock right now, because if you have 100 different companies that even if you have just tiny little fractional shares, that's a lot of stuff to keep tabs on.
So JJ, what's going on with your stock situation this week?
Well, this is a pretty good week. I had a couple of my stocks which have really been languishing. I have had that experience where I purchased and then they promptly went down and suddenly it's pretty demoralizing, though I felt like they were going to come around and I believed in what the companies have coming down the pike and what they're doing. And so my gaming stock, Take-Two, went up above the price I bought it for. My marijuana stock is doing very well to the point where I can't believe I only bought the amount I did. I wish I'd bought shed loads more. But yeah, it's exactly this point you were making, Jen, about not having too many stocks, because I find I've probably got 5 or 6 in my portfolio, and it's getting to the point where I can't keep up. I mean, I can right now, but I can't buy others now unless I really commit to spending the time.
I think, JJ, you're so right that I should probably do more research than the ridiculous mistake that I made earlier this week. So just quickly, my stocks, they're sort of all over the place, up and down, but on balance, my portfolio sort of stayed level. But here's the thing. Don't open your Robinhood app or your E-Trade app or whatever at midnight after having too many glasses of wine. Because I opened it up and I was reading a couple of things about how Bitcoin, some people were saying that if Bitcoin didn't hit 18,000, people were going to start selling off. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I thought, oh, we recently learned a little bit about doing stop loss and stop limits. And I wonder if you can do that with crypto. I wasn't really sure.
It's a good thing to do when you're drunk, for sure.
It's such a good thing to do, right? So I started poking around my app to see if I could actually do a stop loss to set something like, oh, what if it falls while I'm sleeping and I want it to sell? And I don't think you can, but I don't know, poking around.
It is shaking your head no.
I sold all of my Bitcoin in 1 second. And then I was like, oh my God, what do I do?
And I hope you bought it right back.
Well, I had this whole moment of like, do I buy it back? Do I not buy it back? And I was like, wait, I'm not thinking straight. This is stupid. Okay, my deal with myself was I'll wake up in the morning and then I'm going to decide because I'm not thinking clearly. Here's the thing. It was all of about $400 worth total. So it wasn't like this is my life savings, but it was definitely money that I didn't want to just lose. And I had already earned a nice substantial chunk on it for what it was. And luckily for me, when I woke up in the morning, it was still hovering around the same price. So I did buy it back. I lost probably a few bucks and then it went back up.
That's so scary that with one click.
Right.
I'm surprised that it didn't ask you, are you sure you want to do this?
It's like when you're deleting an email from whatever, the gym down the block that wants you to be a member. Are you sure you want to delete this email? Are you sure? Are you sure?
Well, that one I really didn't want to delete, but I did. Yeah. But it's part of it is the excitement for me anyway. And this is what we're talking about in the show is about cryptocurrency. And I think in terms of my interest in the storytelling that these companies all provide us, I'm most interested right now in understanding that, not how to buy and sell it exactly, but just understanding what it is that I'm getting excited about, because it's still really mysterious to me. Dana, what about you? I mean, you're the one who led me down this crazy path, so I blame you for my midnight fiasco. How are you doing?
I take some responsibility. I'll support you through it. Actually, JJ, I love what you mentioned about feeling like you may have just about too many stocks to keep up with the research, because I recently sat back and was like, oh, wait, I'm only invested in crypto right now. And I was like, wait, how did that even happen? Where did I? And it was definitely by
Dana,
design.
you're only like really? Like your portfolio is
and Ethereum. Yeah.
And you don't have any traditional stocks anymore?
I don't. I sold everything. I sold everything because I wanted to make some gains. I did some research and sold NEO and a couple of other electric vehicle stocks and made some money off of them. But currently I'm interested the past few months in making gains and doing this short-term trading. And actually long-term holding wasn't really in my view until I came across Bitcoin. So I think all of the research that I've done and the time that I have to invest in research, being invested only in Bitcoin and Ethereum right now, is working really well for me. I spent all my time and all my research on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency.
The really interesting thing for me is that you're doing the most traditional form of investing with the least traditional form of investment.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. But I believe that Bitcoin and some of the cryptos are long-term holds now based on the research that I've done. When I first started, I did sell to make some gains. And then I recognized, wow, holding onto this, it's so volatile. How do I work with this currency that I see a lot of value in? They say it's going to just skyrocket over the next few years. How do I work with this and not go bananas every single day? And so I think the answer is long-term holding.
So Dana, you're getting really deep into this crypto world. But the funny thing I find is that as excited as I am to learn more about it, when I mention it to some of my friends or my husband, they look at me like I'm completely insane. Like, really, you're investing in this? You may as well just burn your money. How do you handle that?
And I've had those reactions as well. And in particular, my father, who's very intelligent, but he's more on the conservative side. And I've hesitated letting him know that I'm doing any investing because I think he would be very concerned for my mental health if he knew I were investing, especially in crypto. That being said, very slowly over the months, my conversations with my dad, which were never business oriented at all, have turned to stocks and investing. And we'll text each other in the morning talking about BDY or NEO or any of these companies that we both have started researching, and cryptos come into our conversation. And I actually didn't convince my dad, but through our conversations, my super conservative traditional dad now believes in cryptocurrency. And
he and Warren Buffett are hanging out, apparently. Before we go deeper into this conversation, first, maybe we should establish what cryptocurrency actually is. Like, I know it's really difficult to articulate, but maybe on the most basic level, Hula, I think you can do this.
Yes, I can do this on the most basic level. Cryptocurrency is a digital or virtual currency, and it's secured by cryptography, which makes it really hard to hack or counterfeit. And that cryptography is based on something called blockchain technology. And that's about all I know. And that's where my head starts to spin.
Right. And that is exactly why a few weeks ago I was Googling like mad, what is cryptocurrency? And I stumbled across this really great YouTube channel called The Innovative Economy. And this woman, Lori Souza, runs it. And she has this whole series about women in crypto and women in blockchain. And I just found these videos to be so empowering. Luckily for us, Lori agreed to join us. And so a few days ago, Tula and I chatted with her and got her to shed some light on this very mysterious concept.
Yes. So let's roll the tape.
Lori, welcome to Women Take Stock.
Thank you, Jennifer. So glad to be here.
First of all, just tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you go down this road? How did you get started?
So I'll tell you, I started out my career in engineering, and I worked in engineering and technology for 17 years. And then I was blessed to be greeted with the dot-com recession, which took me into a whole nother direction. And so I went into the direction of starting my own business in real estate and became an entrepreneur and got my teaching degree and started teaching business and economics. So That being
Perfect.
said, now fast forward to today, and guess what I get to do? Now I get to educate people about cryptocurrency and the financial technology that's going to infiltrate the new financial world and our future of how we deal with money.
So why crypto? What is it about crypto that was so appealing to you?
I saw and understood why it was created and why we need it. Knowing our current financial system with fiat money, fiat money is the Federal Reserve dollar bill, which was created based on debt. And if you haven't noticed, we're in extreme amount of debt.
Yes.
And
the country and as individuals, some of us.
Absolutely. And so we have a debt issue and we have a money bubble that's happening. Well, in the last recession, the real estate recession in 2009, this blockchain technology was formed to create a store of value that could be honest and that could be transparent. And so now you have a transaction that cannot be hidden under the rug, or you can't just take that $1 million and add another zero onto it, right? For your ledger or for accounting. And I was impressed with the idea. And on top of that, it's decentralized, meaning that nobody controls this computer program except the people who use it. And so what that does is it gives you somewhat of a sovereignty into your own finances. So you're the one that takes care of it, not Uncle Sam, not the central banks.
So who created it?
So there is a consortium of creators, of engineers and developers. And there's this synonymous name, Satoshi Nakamoto from Japan. And Satoshi Nakamoto, some people go back and forth and say, is this one person? Did he create it? Well, there's a group of people that started out talking about, hey, let's create a system that's more reliable, that can't be hacked, and that is public so that any transaction can be done as a transaction of trust, so to speak.
So what blockchain technology, which all cryptocurrencies are based on blockchain technology, can you just sum that up in 20 words or less?
No problem. Well, before I sum it up in 20 words or less, I want everybody to think back to the time in the 1990s when the personal computer, when you bought your first personal computer and you took it home, and a lot of people the very first thing you did with it was set up an email and got in an AOL chat room and started talking. And you thought, wow, this is great,
Yes.
right? This is the
Yes.
internet. And so this is what people did. But did anybody ask when you plugged in your computer, how does the electricity work behind the computer?
No, you just accepted that it worked.
It just works. So you plug your computer in and it works. So now when you ask me what's blockchain technology, it's a lot like the electricity behind the computer.
Okay.
It's the electricity behind cryptocurrency. So there is a lot of technology that backs it. And the one thing that people really do need to know when they're getting involved with cryptocurrency, as far as investing, is that if they don't own their private keys, they don't own their own crypto. And that's where we get into the blockchain technology.
So this is where I get tripped up because I've bought Bitcoin on Robinhood, but then I know that there are these other places like Coinbase, right? Where you have a wallet. What's the difference?
Okay, so this is really good. So let me go back and what I'll do is I'll define cryptocurrency. Okay. So when you think of the word crypto, I think of that Tales of the Crypt back in the 1980s.
I'm Greek and I know that crypto means secret in Greek.
Okay, there you go. So the base word is crypt, right? So encryption and crypt is the base word for crypto. And so it's an encrypted transaction, so nobody can hack it. Just like your email is encrypted, you can't hack the encrypted email. So cryptocurrency means that it's unhackable currency. And so you have a code that's protecting your transaction, and that's your code only. And that's what makes it a safe, trustable transaction. Now, you mentioned Robinhood and Coinbase. Now, if you have a Robinhood account and you bought Bitcoin on Robinhood, then that means that you actually sent a signal, just like buying a share of stock, that you want a share of Bitcoin, but you don't own the Bitcoin. You're giving Robinhood permission to buy the crypto for you so that you can have a share of Bitcoin.
Okay.
Now with Coinbase, they take it another step further, because Coinbase, you can buy your Bitcoin, your shares of Bitcoin, and you can hold them on the exchange. And it's an exchange, just like if you go to a currency exchange in another country. So you're holding your money there in the exchange. Now, in order for it to actually be yours, you need to take it off the exchange and put it in a private wallet, your wallet. And when you put it in your wallet, and when I say wallet, it's a digital wallet you put on your phone. When you hold it on your phone in your digital wallet, you own that Bitcoin.
And what can you do with Bitcoin?
Oh, what can you do? You can actually go shopping if you want. You can pay bills with it.
Really? In the United States? You can pay your bill with...
Yeah, you can. Sure. Do you have a PayPal account?
Yes.
PayPal is now allowing you to transact with cryptocurrency.
Okay. There was several years ago, there was a big cryptocurrency bubble that burst. And then now we've got this second wave. What happened several years ago? Why do you think this time it's different?
This time it is different. Right now, Bitcoin has a store of value. I think it's about 19,000. And just about 4 months ago, it was only 12,000. Well, the reason why it's increasing in value is because people are understanding that it is a parallel system that's happening where you actually have a limited supply. It's an intrinsic value. You have a limited supply, whereas the dollar, you have an unlimited supply. You have a limited supply of something versus an unlimited supply. Which one do you think is going to increase in value over time and in the future?
The limited.
Yes. So there's only 21 million Bitcoin, and there are already 18.5 million Bitcoin in circulation.
So I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Okay. And I'm going to be that person. And also just from the standpoint of getting the general public to understand and kind of make the shift over and trust it. Like, what are the challenges of cryptocurrency really taking hold?
So why would you trust cryptocurrency? That's your question, right?
Yes. And why would I trust a digitization when it feels like there's this danger of everything becoming digitized? It takes the human element out of it.
The main reason why I would say that you can trust cryptocurrency is because it's decentralized. Now, the difference with cryptocurrency, because it's more like the bartering system, it's more community money, because you have a consensus that needs to be made to verify a transaction took place. You don't just have a stamp at the bank. You don't have your banker saying, okay, yeah, you made a deposit. It's basically...
It takes out the middleman.
Takes out the middleman. There you go.
Or middlewoman.
The intermediary.
The intermediary.
And it decentralizes the transaction so that it is going to be yours after it's verified. And once it's verified, it can't be taken away from you.
Okay. I'm starting to understand this now.
A little bit. It's like this light is going off. So here's a question for you. Why is it important? I mean, you have a whole series about women in crypto. Why? Why is it important for women to be in crypto?
So what's really exciting about the series is that not only women in crypto, but women in AI, women in technology, women in blockchain, to see that there's so many women that are involved in this technology, and also to empower other women to get involved in it, not just to make money in their investments, but to also take part in the future internet, because blockchain technology is the basic foundation for us reprogramming as we digitize, as we move our economy into a digitized economy. Who's going to program the AI? Who's programming the machines? It doesn't just require somebody to develop the program or create the program. Mm-hmm. It takes somebody who can apply it to real world knowledge.
One of the things, Lori, that we think about is that there's this huge investment gap, right? That women don't invest at the rate that men do, especially in the stock market. And when I did a little research, it seemed that particularly in crypto, the numbers were really bad. It was something like 8 or 10% of people who own cryptocurrency are women and everybody else is male. What's the problem with that? What are people missing out on if they aren't learning how to use this currency, how to invest in this currency?
Well, I will tell you that that was the main reason I started my channel on YouTube, was to educate people about our new possibilities for a parallel financial system where you can actually invest and create wealth for yourself in the future. Now, not only is it just 8% women, but it's less than 8% total population worldwide. We only have about 0.5% of the population actually even looking at cryptocurrency. And now it's just really getting ready to pop and go mainstream. And to answer your question, the importance for women to get involved is, basically, do you want to create wealth for yourself in the future? You want to have choices and opportunity rather than going into this old economy where we have millions of jobs that are being lost daily because of our pandemic. And so when you have money, you have choices, right? And so when you have choices, you can actually help to create the future. And how can we create the future? What do we want for our kids and our grandkids? Do we want to use this internet that we have now? Well, everything's hackable on it the way it is now. So blockchain technology uses these transactions of trust. Now we're actually moving and creating a new internet, or the future internet.
I know that Bitcoin is the most popular cryptocurrency.
I was just going to ask about that.
Oh, okay. And I also purchased a very small amount of Ethereum.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it? Just because I was like, well, it's good to diversify. I guess I'll diversify between Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then I know that certain government countries are now creating their own cryptocurrency. So can you talk a little bit about why is Bitcoin so popular? Was it the first?
And which one should we be buying?
That's interesting. Yeah.
Although we do say that just so you know, our disclosure on this podcast is that anything that sounds like financial advice is purely coincidental.
Well,
we don't want it. We're not experts, right?
That's right. So as far as being a cryptocurrency expert, I'm an educator.
Okay.
I am not a financial advisor. Okay. And so there's a lot of technology that goes behind this store of value. And so Bitcoin is the original blockchain that was created, and Bitcoin is the main store of value. Now, all other cryptocurrency is built on top of the Bitcoin blockchain, and you have other blockchains being created from Ethereum. And so you have base currencies. Bitcoin is a base currency. Ethereum now has what you call smart contracts, is what I was talking about, is a digitized transaction. Ethereum is going to be used and is used for a lot of the development that's happening in blockchain, creating these digitized transactions for businesses, for applications in the health sector, in the real estate sector, in the agricultural sector, in the supply chain. These are all businesses that use those blockchains. Now, when you say that countries are developing their own currencies, digital currencies, because they're creating their own blockchains, what happens when you get into digital currency, that is they call it a CBDC, a central bank digital currency. And this is where, for example, you have JP Morgan. They came out with their own coin, JPM, the JPM coin. So in the future, anybody who's banking with JP Morgan will probably be issued coins to bank with them. And
this is the future.
Yeah. And so just like I in one of my videos, we're talking about Chuck E. Cheese. You know, if you ever took your kids to Chuck E. Cheese or Peter Piper Pizza, you got tokens. You got tokens.
Yeah.
Or if you fly
I'm having PTSD now of my memories of Chuck E. Cheese at 4-year-old birthday parties. Oh my God.
Yeah. If you fly on American Airlines, you get reward miles. If you bank at JP Morgan, you get JPM coin tokens, right? And so that's the difference, is they still control those coins. And so you can't use them anywhere else except for what they tell you can use them for.
I know you can't give us actual advice or tell us what to do, but it might be smart to look at currencies that aren't Bitcoin as an investor, because Bitcoin, while it can still go up and up and up, there are some that are much more affordable right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so my mind is blowing. So I don't want to go too deep. And we could talk to you for hours, because we've now been playing with this for a couple of months and we have so many questions. But I think a lot of our listeners at least some that I've communicated with, have no idea what crypto is. And they think like, it's a scam. Like, it's not a scam.
Yeah.
But so my point being that because we're talking about women and investments, we do need to get a little deeper in how to handle crypto. I do think, though, the really important thing is if you're interested in this new future, well, the future of the economy, really, there are a lot of resources out there that can get us more information. Of course, Lori, your YouTube channel and your podcast are really great resources.
One thing that I can tell you, if you're just wanting one statement for women to understand what they're getting into, and that is you're investing in your future. So there's a lot of considerations, right? There's a lot of opportunity too. So if you have the mindset that you're able to take control of your own finances and you're ready to take control of your own finances, then I would say cryptocurrency is for you. If you're ready to have volatile swings of plus or minus 20 to 30%, if you can do that and hold on, this is the future way that we're going to have currency and the way that our kids and grandkids are going to transact. So you're actually buying into their future.
What you said earlier about when you plugged in your first computer, you didn't understand how it worked. I think there's a certain amount of just accept that this is happening. And as it becomes more habitual, you will start to understand it. Like anything, it's like learning a foreign language.
I still don't know how my computer actually works, Tula.
I don't know how my car works. So.
I don't know how anything works. I don't know how my phone works. I barely even know how the lights work.
Yeah. Well, and the main thing is learning decentralized finance.
Mm-hmm.
We're all so used to centralized finance, relying on a centralized authority. We're all so used to saying they will take care of it. What are they going to do? And who is they?
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a mindset shift of, okay, I'm going to take care of this. And how do you take care of it? Well, you take care of it by, your sovereignty. You take care of your own finances.
It really is a mindset shift, and it's one that we're trying to be a part of.
I feel like there's a little bit of that going on for me. Like my brain is kind of calcified. Like I'm 51 years old and I'm stuck in my ways, but I want to loosen it up. I want to try to understand this new way of thinking. And for me anyway, there's something really exciting and liberating about that. Because, you sort of grow up thinking that this is the point in life when it all kind of fizzles out. Instead, I'm sort of feeling like, it's actually sort of bubbling up. And that's really exciting. So thank you for helping us shed some light on this.
Yes. Thank you, Lori.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm really glad to be able to share the information, and it's exciting. You know what? When you meet people that are involved in cryptocurrency, it is exciting because you have a fresh outlook about a positive future. And look at the old economy. It feels like gloom and doom, right?
Mm-hmm. There's so much to understand, and you're a great resource. So thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome. Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you so
Lori.
much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Wow, that was incredibly informative. And I feel like she just covered every base that I didn't even know I needed to have covered. And just the background to cryptocurrency.
I know.
What do you think, JJ? Come on, JJ, answer right now.
JJ's like, wait, you're putting me on the spot. What?
I'm going blank on what
JJ, did our interview put you to sleep?
No.
JJ's like, I know everything already. I don't need to hear.
Yeah,
you don't need to.
I guess I have macro issues. I think it's great to keep adding to my understanding of cryptocurrency. At first, I really struggled to get my head around the blockchain and what this all means. So it's nice to finally have a basis of understanding for it all.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed.
I think one thing that makes me nervous as an investor is the fact that unlike investing in a company stock, where there's an underlying value in the company that has to do with the products or services it provides, the actual things it owns, including its buildings or stock or whatever, that with Bitcoin, it's pure currency. And it's not currency issued by a government.
Yeah, it is a little scary. You're taking a leap of faith.
But it's a little bit like investing in invisible gold, right? It's just sort of magic. Back to, maybe we do see magic.
But someone's telling you those gold bars exist. And there is an analogy of like, it's easier to trade cryptocurrency than gold bars. But still, those gold bars are actually somewhere physically.
Well, I think the fact that we are still, 6 weeks into this show, I think I'm about 5 weeks into starting to play with cryptocurrency, and I still am really confused, but the more confused I am, actually, the more interested I am. So clearly this is something we're going to need to keep grappling with. And I think as we go forward, we'll have more guests come on to help try to make some sense of it. But I think right now it's time for the quiz of the week. Tula?
Okay. So, of course, this is about crypto. True or false, ladies? Transactions that are made with cryptocurrency receive anonymous protection.
Wait. Say that again.
I'm not going to Google this right now.
Don't
I'm
Google.
so tempted
Don't Google
to
the
Google it
answer.
right now. I know.
So bad because
Okay.
I don't want to be wrong.
I'll repeat it. True or false? Transactions using cryptocurrency receive anonymous protection.
Actually, I have a little bit of intel, so I feel like I shouldn't vote. Actually, I'm
go last.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything.
I'm going to say false.
Okay.
I think because it's private but not anonymous.
Ooh, good distinction. Interesting. Okay.
I'm actually Googling it right now.
Oh,
Dana.
But I'm saying that it is anonymous.
So I'm going to go with JJ that it's not fully anonymous, that there are potentially ways to disclose what that long digital ID is and who it belongs to. I just can't believe that anything in this world is fully anonymous.
Yeah.
It's more the cynical answer, actually.
JJ and Jen, you're right. But I actually, Dana, before I created this quiz, I would have thought that it was anonymous because that's one of the things that I've heard some people criticize cryptocurrency for is that criminals in the underground use it because it's not traceable. But in fact, and generally it is much harder for anybody to hack you or for anybody to figure out your identity. And a lot of people use pseudonyms. But the reality is that law enforcement can track a user's pseudonym by studying the patterns in the blockchain. It's very...
Well, why would you even want to be... I don't think I've ever even thought about being anonymous. Like, what's the...
Well, no, because you're not trafficking children.
Yeah.
I said, because you're not trafficking children. I mean, I think that people who would want to be anonymous don't want to know, but the
they don't want
is,
to pay each other in PayPal. They want to pay each other in an anonymous currency.
Right.
Well,
except
cash
it's easier to launder money, I guess, when in this capacity. I mean, obviously bad things have always happened with real money. It's not unique to cryptocurrency, right?
Yeah.
It's like there's dark behaviors with regular currency too.
Right.
But
this question is bringing up like moral issues in our minds, and we're grappling with those now.
Yes, but you can imagine that there are times when you might want privacy with what you're purchasing that have nothing to do with buying
nefarious activities.
Something illegal. Yes, some kind of illegal.
Like people who buy porn.
Yeah.
Not just porn. There might be all kinds of things you do financially with your money.
Like I don't want my husband to know that I bought him something for Hanukkah.
Oh, that's so sweet and innocent. I like that.
But it's true. It's true. Like there is that nature of privacy, and it is much more difficult.
Well, I do think the one thing that is really fundamentally different between cryptocurrency and regular currency held in banks is that there aren't the bank robbers, if there are any, they look really different. There's not like the getaway car and the big bag with the dollar sign on it. So we've moved on. And
it's true. And like Lori said, I think one of the secure things about crypto is that no one is controlling it. There's no one government or one bank.
Satoshi Nakamoto is controlling it.
Yeah. Oh, Satoshi Nakamoto. I can't believe
we should do a whole episode on who is Satoshi Nakamoto.
Except that it would be a really boring episode because in the end it'd be like, it's nobody.
It's like Banksy. He's like the Banksy of the crypto world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. The Banksy of the crypto world. But Banksy is actually a person versus Satoshi Nakamoto is not necessarily. He may have been a person, but they say he was actually a consortium of people.
Who invented Bitcoin. It's funny that Bitcoin is now, it's like the dinosaur of the of the cryptocurrencies. It's like the stodgy old cryptocurrency.
No, I see it as this giant, what's the one? Is that a stegosaurus with the long neck and the big body and the tiny head?
Now they're called Brachiosaurus.
Oh, are they? Oh, hello.
What I love about what we've just done is we've basically taken the entire history of civilization from dinosaurs to cryptocurrency. So stick with us and you could learn a lot more. If any of our listeners have any questions about cryptocurrency or perhaps any really good answers about cryptocurrencies or dinosaurs, you should definitely hit us up. JJ, can you tell us a little bit about how people might be able to find us?
Well, we are online at www.womentakestock.com. You can find us on Twitter, Women Take Stock. You can find us on Instagram, women.take.stock. You can find us on Pinterest and YouTube. Women Take Stock everywhere.
Oh my God. We're going to be in your dreams soon. We're so ubiquitous. See you later. We'll see you later. You can learn a lot more and we're out.
We're out.
Bye.
Bye.